So I'm getting ready to set up and build a case for the new mining rig. Right here I have the remainder of an old IKEA bed frame, just the metal parts obviously. We have a good length of angle iron and some good pieces to cut into the base and some connectors, hopefully to keep everything together and make some nice mounting brackets for the GPUs. So I'm going to measure this all out, get it cut, screw it all together, and we'll see how it comes out. And now my case is complete. I was able to complete this whole project using a power drill and a 1/8 inch drill bit to accommodate the number 6 1/2 inch metal screws, a hand screwdriver, a sawzall, a measuring tape, and a marking tool. I just used a pencil. The case here is going to have the graphics cards sitting up here, motherboard down here. You can see we've already measured and installed the risers, and the power supply right over here. So the challenge now will be to fit all of this into the case. So that's what we'll be showing next. The first thing we're going to do to get ready to install all the computer hardware is we're going to prepare the motherboard. We're going to be using the TB250 BTC by BioStar, which supports 6 GPUs. We're going to be using an Intel Celeron processor. This is the LGA 1151. We're going to be installing 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. This is the Crucial brand. I'm going to go ahead and unbox all this, and then we'll get ready for the install. Okay, now everything's unboxed. We have the CPU fan here, which has the pre-placed thermal compound. We have our 8 gigabytes of Crucial DDR4. We have our Celeron processor here, and here we have our motherboard. First thing we need to do is install the processor. So we're going to first remove the protective piece of plastic that's on there. Set that aside. We're going to pull this pin out to release the housing, and we're going to bring that open. Just flip that over to the side. Now I'm wearing gloves because your skin has natural oils and you do not want any of that to get on any part of the processor, the pins on the bottom or on the top, so it makes a good thermal seal. I'm just going to take a moment to find the pattern on how to place this in here. So after some observation, I found there are 2 notches on here with the help of my brother, and there are 2 circular pillars on this as well. So we'll go ahead and place that down on there. Slots right in. Very good. And now looking at the top, there's also an arrow on the motherboard and an arrow on the top of the processor. So I'm going to slightly tilt that, if anyone can zoom in and see that, to help you see where to install it. Okay. You wouldn't want to clamp this thing down if you didn't have this in the right spot. Okay, so then we place the housing back down on top of it. We press down. Once it's settled in, it needs to go under the set screw. There we are. And we press down and lock it in place. Okay. Next we'll install the system fan. We'll uncoil the power cord here. as little as possible. And there are 4 peg holes and 4 holes attaching this. And you simply press down to attach them. And 4. The CPU fan power port is labeled just next to the RAM dock. So that is attached. Last but not least, we'll attach the RAM. There's a DIMM 1 and a DIMM 2 slot, so since we're only using one, you're going to want to put it into DIMM 1, which they are labeled here on the motherboard, so just read the description. And there are 2 sides to this that are not equal, so we're going to pop open the latches, see which side is longer, which side is shorter. Simply slide that in, and as we push down, it locks in place. Now this motherboard is ready to be installed to the frame, hooked up to the hard drive and the power supply. So now that we've prepared the motherboard, we've mounted it into the case, and we've also secured down with a rough fit our power supply. We're going to be using a Corsair platinum rated 1000 watt power supply. It is fully modular. So we've also wired up our power jumpers here. So these connect to the motherboard, and this is the on, off, and reset switch, as well as the lights to show the hard drive and power is on. So next step is to connect all the power to the motherboard. We're going to be using our 24-pin connector here, our CPU connector, which is a Type 3. All these will be provided if you get this modular power supply. And then we also need to install our solid-state drive, which needs a SATA connector, which are these type. So we'll connect those all into the power supply here to get started. Alright, 24-pin is 2 pieces on the side that connects to the power supply. Should be clearly labeled. You're looking for 24-pin ATX, and that's going to go to your motherboard. So we'll snap those into place like so. Then we're going to use one of our peripheral and SATA up top for our hard drive, like so. And then our CPU, it's located, it should be labeled. It's going to say Type 3 for the part connecting to the power supply. Okay, now we'll take a look at the motherboard. So we'll start with our 24-pin ATX. Connect that to the motherboard here. Clicks in there. Then we'll bring across our CPU power, which connects back over here. Like so. Then we can just connect our solid-state hard drive to one of the SATA connectors here. They're labeled. You're going to want to use number 1 for your first drive, which is here. Okay, the connector's only going one way, so it's nice and easy to connect. And then we'll put power to our hard drive. Like so. Now, this is a computer. We don't have the graphics card set up yet for the mining rig, which we'll do next. However, we have our memory, power, hard drive, processor, and if we flip this thing on and connect to the monitor, we would have a functioning computer right now. So this may be a point at which in your build you want to fire it up, get Windows booted up, load up your operating system, which we've actually already done on our first run through of putting this together. But now we're going to move on to the graphics cards. We're going to start by installing these risers, nice and loose. There's just some zip ties, so we can get all the graphics cards slotted up along here. So we're going to take through those steps. Now for our risers and our graphics cards, we're going to use powered risers that connect to the PCI slots on the motherboard. So I've already installed one down here, and it slots in with a USB connector. So we're going to connect that, and that connects up to the riser so that you can fit all 6 of your graphics cards. The next thing they came with is a Molex, which is the same type of power connector we use for the hard drive. Okay. SATA or Molex to 4-pin connector for the riser. Get that connected there, a little tricky, and put this connector here. Slides in like so. Then we're going to use a Type 3 peripheral with an 8-pin, 8-pin connector for our graphics card, which we are using XFX Radeon 570 cards with the AMD processors, and that's simply going to slot up in here. I find it easier to connect the power supply first before. Okay, so that's slotted in there, and then this connects to the riser. So, okay, so same power configuration, same connection for all 6. So we're going to go ahead and get all 6 installed and then show you the final cleaned up part of the build. So here we are. Now we have all 6 graphics cards and risers mounted and powered. The rig is actually up and running. You can see all the risers plugged in there. I'll take you around to the other side. Everything's spinning, everything's working, and bring you right over here. We are live and mining. Alright guys, I thought I'd end this video with a status update. Here's the miner running. It's been running for about a full week now. We have got the cards stable at over 25 megahash each, and so we're getting about 151. Some people online have been more successful with the cards getting up to around 27. Nothing that was able to do that ran stable for me, and I wanted to stop dealing with shutdowns. But after a week of operation, we were using the NiceHash miner. The NiceHash miner status is here, but we'll get the stat checker, see where we're at right now. So currently, I've almost mined about $90. It should hit my first payout tomorrow from that. And again, our goal is to get Bitcoins right now. We want to hold Bitcoins for the long haul, and we're going to do it by mining. I don't know if it's the most profitable way, but it's the most accessible way for us right now. And if we go down here, you're able to track your overall average and your productivity. So going pretty well. And I do intend to continue to make videos about this and possibly make another rig if some cards I located online come in at the right price. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any tips for me as far as how to make these cards work or what to point my mining to if you think something more profitable. Always interested in more input.